Good afternoon. What's going down, everybody? I am here to potentially make a video that will get you in touch with your karma. It's a big call, and I must put forth the disclaimer: karma is a very tricky thing to understand. Everyone who thinks they do so is akin to those who are understanding quantum physics, whereby it cannot be understood if you think you do understand it. But in light of the recent news, follow your heart. This is what I've seen on television, my friends. The discovery of the black hole. I don't watch television. And the fact of the Dalai Lama being hospitalized. Now, I'm a bit older to understand the fact of the mind being a very stringy type of substance, as it were, liking to link things together. But anyway, that's for someone in the future to work out. Where I want to come from now is this pretty darn interesting point of something. Let me begin by putting forth the idea that my teacher was a Buddha a very long time ago. He said that the factor of Buddha's enlightenment gave the potential for every other living being to realize their enlightened nature. One person to become enlightened is all it took. Isn't that beautiful? It's like the vacuum, the black hole, and all this light is rushing in towards it. And of course, that's the light of the mind, the light of the heart mind. So, to conceptualize today's talk, it's about exactly how one can use Buddhism to understand the karma. Now, I'm going to say it a bit more correctly here because I'm kind of twisting my body. And so, that's probably a good angle there to begin with. Let us think of the karma that unfolds as taking place in many domains, in many times, in many places simultaneously. And I think because we have this we are actually able to get a grip of more than one thing happening simultaneously. Look at Islam, for example, in the Quran, which is a very duty-based understanding of religion, like a religious imperative has come upon Muhammad, and he's revealing to his followers that there is actually a backwards flowing stream and a forwards flowing stream of life taking place at once. Okay, so yeah, duality. Now, I'm not sure, like, we've never really been in touch with this kind of energy before. Someone at a party recently said to me, gathering around a campfire, that we weren't born with this energy. Okay, so it's Christ who dies on the cross every single day in many different ways. As our minds expand as a natural process of everything flourishing, everything comes into cyclical movement and decaying. Of course, there is a wisdom that is all transcendental. Impermanence is just like being witnessed by this supreme Buddha mind that gave the potential for every single thing to be enlightened. As you rush towards that light, let me hold up and say there's a very important point I'd like to make. What was previously given a time signature as an identifying marker of a personality of which we were once caught in, a desire, as the senses come in contact with the mind, the sense consciousness is solidified, the desire is sort of attained, and therefore the mind gets a taste of the desire and pulls it back into existence, into craving once more. And the rattling bell of the great Buddha of the North says that's the third noble truth right there. Jackpot, you just hit it. You've sort of come into an incarnation again. The age of Kali, I want to make a point to say this, gambling and drinking and prostitution and adharma, which is activity that is not orientated towards enlightening and bringing compassion towards others, is the fact of the rapidity. Things happen really, really fast. But the great books say that at the time of the age of Kali, it's actually easiest to awaken. Just take a step outside. So that's because things are happening so fast. It's like all of a sudden you have the potential to actually see where you've trodden backwards. Now, I don't suggest this too much, and this is taught in the books to be a very secret mantra, that you are able to see your past karma and immediately on the other foot move to that river that's flowing forward, yet this one here, and it's like, I know which way to go, because you're no longer operating in this small paradigm. It's now like, with the expansion of the mind, those symbols previously deeply significant are now signifying the fact of energetic tendencies awakening, greater perspective, greater responsibility. Sorry for that staggered English, I don't know where that came from, but it seems the only appropriate way to make a point of talking about the mind. There are languages of which the mind is slightly more in tune to, and the body makes its own noises. The body of which is a temporary thing, but sound is that transcendental essence. So the mantra vehicle is a pretty good way to get in touch with your karma, recognizing and awakening the latent energies of the nerve energies to transcend that attachment we have to the senses. Magical stuff can take place, but also great illusion can get a hand upon you. So please let us remember that I'm not sure if it's just a thing like a coming of age, like Saturn returns, all of a sudden I'm 28 personally, here I am discovering I'm an adult with more responsibilities. I find that there's a cosmic responsibility that takes place, not just bodily based, like this is a karma that's like an awakening, like holy shit, you know, if I consider myself a Catholic, raised as a Catholic, living in, despite the demarcation process of what was once apparently the secularization of church and state, I've got a lot of karma to pay back to those who I've pushed aside when bringing my Lord Christ into the hearts of others. And so, you know, as he could turn water into wine, I'm trying to turn the wine back into water. You know, Catholics have got a lot to pay for the Islamic race, as the Islamic race have been able to collect all the efforts of others. This really is the work of Krishna, and I mean India, and this is a bit of a tangent, India has sort of understood the Muslim Hindu relativeness in the fact of like that which was effort previously has been carried generation to generation. And now it's almost like the Catholics have as a receipt, as it were, written with the ink of other countries in times and places. This is how much the faith has cost. This is the cost of having technology, of having brought that technology to a distant place. You know, sure, there are people already at that distant place. Simultaneously, we're living here and there. So that's why one is able to understand the karma that is due to unfold, that can be orientated. You know, it's very difficult to, you can't get rid of karma, you know, we're constantly in it. And even if you have finished, you still got to go back and come, if you like, and do what the rest of us are doing, which is taking upon the karma. You know, you get to a point like Ram, like Hanuman was to Ram, you know, I'm not sure what I should be doing here, but when I don't know who I am, I serve you, and when I do know who I am, it's all good, we are one. You know, that's that Hanuman faith, that's like the Bodhisattva perspective. So you don't have to take such an epic perspective as what I do, but the way to understand these kind of things is to say, like, you know, here we are understanding the great overarching historical archetypes of which we've once received food from. We are now having to give food back to, for the sustenance of life to move forward, and for the validation of the potential, like the significance of your own stance. You know, to crawl up into a hole, like look backwards and see where you've come from, and people are following you regardless. People are moving toward the future with a greater smile, because there is that twinkle that Buddha once awakened with his middle eye for all other light to move forth. That's a kind of pretty picture, isn't it? That costs 5 petabytes. The cosmic donut having been revealed. May the Dalai Lama awaken in good health and remember that cosmic stuff is not important at all. Hurry on.